How's it going today? Welcome to today's installment of Mike's Vehicle Vlogs. I want to thank you for joining me today. We're not under the canopy today. Should be. But we're not really doing a whole lot today. This is actually, it's not going to be like a full out vlog today, but this is something that could be beneficial to people who own a Civic. Of this generation here, the generation before this, and quite possibly even the latest generation. Any Civic that's got the CVT transmission, because I'm going to tell you guys something, and it's really not a big deal, but I mean it could, if it goes unnoticed, it definitely could maybe become a big deal. But it actually has to do with the fill plugs on these CVT transmissions, and I'm going to kind of show you and explain what I have noticed, and actually kind of wanted to look into this a little more, and finally kind of got some answers. So I'm going to pass it on to you guys if you happen to have a Civic with the CVT transmission. Now, there's really no issues with my current 2017 Civic with the CVT transmission. I actually really like the CVT transmission. It's due for a fluid change in less than 10,000 miles at this point. So you're supposed to change the fluid every 30,000 miles on these. Definitely helps keep these transmissions in working order. I strongly suggest, if you happen to have one of these, if you didn't really know what the interval was, I strongly recommend you do it at 30,000. So anyway, it's kind of hard to see because the intake tube is here. But if we kind of, where do I want to go? The fill plug for the fluid is on the top of this transmission, almost directly underneath this air box. And it doesn't help that I have no good lighting here. There it is. Alright, let's try to zoom in a little bit. You can kind of see it. You see that thing there? Looks a little greasy. There's a little thing that pops out of it, like a little L hook to grab onto it. But that's the top, that's the plug for the fill port of this transmission. And I really wish I had a flashlight here at the house so you can see more. It's almost like the shift linkage is right there. And it's almost directly underneath the shift linkage also. If I actually had the car, I didn't bring the keys out, but if I had the car on, or not on, but if I got the shifter out of park and put it maybe into either drive or sport or low, you can actually see it a little bit better. But it's literally a rubber plug, and it it just kind of goes right into the hole. It doesn't thread on or anything. You just kind of push it in, and it's pretty tight. It stays in there pretty well. However, every once in a while at work, when I'm having a Civic come in for some maintenance, and I go to do my little underhood inspection, and I get my flashlight, and I look down here, and I kind of notice it's all wet. Like it looks like something has been leaking all over the top of the transmission. Mine does not look like that. That's actually why I decided to come out here and look at this. You'll hear what I have to say in just a moment about this, but yeah, so every once in a while, it doesn't happen too often, once in like a blue moon, I will have a Civic come in, top of the transmission is all wet, and as I'm looking closer with the flashlight, I'll notice the plug is completely missing off of the opening for the fill. And upon looking further, the plug is usually sitting off to the side of where it should be. So why does the plug come up out of the transmission? Well, you know, it's got to be because of pressure. It's got to take a lot of pressure actually to push that plug up through out of the fill plug, because like I said, it's actually a pretty tight plug. You push it in and it doesn't really go anywhere. But like anything else that gets heat and stuff over time, the transmission is one of them. You get pressure built up in the transmission, and there's supposed to be a bleeder or a vent that lets pressure escape, you know, much like, you know, the gas tank with the evap system. And things that aren't supposed to have pressure will usually have some sort of way of relieving pressure. So the reason why I decided to actually come out here and look at mine is because I just took that long trip to and from Myrtle Beach. That's a combined 26 hours straight almost of just pure driving to get there and back here to Ohio. So I ended up getting a Civic yesterday at work that had this problem, and I figured today I was going to look. Mine's not doing it, but we did see that the top of the plug, I'm not going to be able to find it again for you guys, but it looked like it was a little greasy. So maybe some pressure was kind of, you know, has been coming up, you know, through there, but the plug hasn't popped off yet. We're going to try to prevent that, and that's kind of why I'm passing this info on to you. So yesterday I tried looking at service data, you know, Honda service data. Tried to look at this, you know, the components of the CVT transmission. I could not find anything from Honda about, you know, possible venting. You know, where does the pressure of the transmission vent from? So I asked another guy that I worked with, and he has no idea also. So finally this morning, since I was off, I wanted to do a little more exploring. I found some things online, and that's what I'm here to pass to you today. It's actually really simple. So this guy right here, underneath our radiator hoses and the thermostat here, that guy right there, that's the vent. And on this particular car, it's actually really easy to get to. So earlier today, I did have my phone to try to look for that thing, and yeah, we found it. So that's the vent right there, and it does, when you have a light on it, it does look like the front here, there's supposed to be an opening right there on the tip of that, and I do have some, you know, looks like it's getting kind of clogged up with dirt and such. So I was gonna take it off and clean it out. And that there should keep the plug from popping out of the top of this transmission. Now this thing itself, from what I've seen, should just be a rubber cap with, you know, that stem on it, and we should be able to pull that off also. This car has not been running at all today, so it is stone cold. Probably a good time to do this because this area here gets very hot when you are, you know, running it, obviously. So just gotta find the right way to do this, and it should just come right off. Yep, yes it does. Yeah, see? So, oh, okay, so yeah, it looks like it's still open, but probably wouldn't help to clean more of that out, because you can kind of see it is kind of cruddy. So mine didn't completely clog up yet. Here's what it looks like without that cap on it. So that's the vent right there. Yep. And I think the problem is, I wonder if, you know, like, why did they have to have it facing this way? I feel like that's why these clog up, is because this is facing in a direction where, of course, you're going to have a bunch of dirt and and stuff being blown into it. And yeah, so I don't know. I kind of wonder if I take this and put it on backwards. It does have an arrow. It says front. It specifically says front. Like it wants you to keep it like this, but I'm not sure. I don't know what to do. I mean, I don't really see why it would matter, you know, what direction it goes in particularly. So I don't know. I really don't know. So I'm gonna try to get something. I don't have any cleaner at the house. I don't brake clean right now. But I just want to see if maybe I can, you know, take maybe like a paper clip or something, just kind of open that up a little more. Now I say right now that you know, it's not that big a deal because, I mean, if you catch it in time, you know, obviously with the plug off, that fill plug off, if it's, you know, off for a long period, it's gonna make a mess. You know, you're gonna have little bits of fluid coming out of that transmission, and it's eventually just gonna make a mess on the top. But you know, it's also going to, you know, it's an open cavity now, and anything can enter that transmission. That's already, you know, pretty sensitive, and you don't want to get anything, you know, into that transmission to contaminate, you know, the fluid and such. I thought I had like something really small that I can kind of use to clean this out, but I might be wrong. I might have to go somewhere else in the house. Now you're not going to lose that much fluid, but you know, the way that the fluid kind of spreads out, you know, when it hits a surface, it will definitely make a mess. And that's really the only reason why I'm saying, you know, this may be something that you want to maybe check on periodically. You know, just anybody can really do it. Just take, you know, a flashlight and just kind of look down there, make sure that's still dry, make sure the plug is still in there, and you know, you can pop this vent off, this vent cap, and easily clean it out if it's still, you know, looking pretty decent down there, and that should prevent this from, you know, from happening. I just found like a little tiny nail that fits in there, so I'm just kind of scraping it out, just kind of scraping the stuff off there. I probably would have used, like I said, if I had brake clean here, I would have maybe just sprayed some brake clean through it and then tried to pick it out. But this is working. This is working quite well, actually. If we hold it up to the light, I can actually see through it. But yeah, it definitely looks like, you know, it's open more, so you know, I think we're safe here. We are safe at this time. Like I said, I kind of wanted to stick it in the other way, but maybe, you know, maybe I should just stick it back on the way it was. Now that it's cleaned, you know, I really don't have to worry about it coming off or blowing the plug out because it's open. So yeah, every so often maybe I'll take a look and see how it looks. And like I said, the fluid change for the CVT is coming up in less than 10,000, so even then, you know, when I go to do that, maybe that would be a time to check to see maybe how quickly this thing could, you know, kind of clog up. But that's it, and then we just kind of stick it back on, and that's it. So you just push it on down. it too, like I said, feels like a pretty snug piece of rubber, so it's not gonna go anywhere, much like the plug, you know, shouldn't. But now that the transmission can breathe again, or breathe better, that will definitely lessen the chances of that rubber plug on the top actually blowing off and making a mess, and you know, could definitely create problems down the road if it goes for a long time without being found. But again, wouldn't hurt to, you know, just kind of check to make sure it's still dry down there. That's pretty much all I'm saying. I would like to document the CVT fluid process when the time comes. I don't know if I'm gonna do it here at the house or not, only because of when the fluid comes out, it is actually a mess. The fluid comes out really fast, and it's very watery, so it will really just go everywhere. I'm gonna wrap this video up now. Like I said, just a little maybe helpful hint, something if you want to keep an eye on. If you've noticed, you know, that you've seen your plug, you know, actually come off, and you've got the issue and can't really figure out why, take that vent cap off and just kind of clean it out, and that should solve it. And if it hasn't happened yet, that's a good way to prevent that from happening. Give this video a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe if it helped you, or if you enjoyed this bit of knowledge, and I will see you guys next time. I want to thank you for joining me today, and take care.